Right, so these are part of this review that we've been doing. Matt has just tested these in a video. That's going to be up soon. 16.1.
Hi guys, Ian and Matt from Football Boots, and I've managed to persuade Matt to test a green pair of boots. Matt, X16.1 from Adidas, what do you think? Well, they are green, so not my own personal favourite ones out there, but Luis Suarez wears them, and obviously he's banging the goals in the Liga, so I'm going to lace them up, see how I get on, but let's go test them.
They're pretty cool. I like the colour schemes. They feel pretty light. I like the colourway. Yeah.
What's up guys, Matt from the Football Boots team, and today thanks to JD Sports we have got the Turbocharge pack Adidas X16.1, and we're going to be running through everything the boot has to offer. So if you want to get your hands on a pair, look in the description below and there's a link straight to JD Sports website where you can get yourself a pair of these boots. But let's find out if they're any good. So when we talk about the width of the X16.1, it's actually quite unique. Most speed boots on the market are quite narrow fitting, but the X16.1s are actually a little bit wider than you would expect. So wide fitted players who want a speed boot, these will be a great option for you. A nice positive about these boots are they do fit true to size. So if you want any other Adidas boots on the market, go for that size and these are going to fit you perfectly. So when we're looking at the upper of the X16.1, and we can see it's got that slash graphic, also seen on the Pure Chaos, but different to the Pure Chaos is it's much stiffer and also thicker compared to that premium model. These are still an elite tier boot, but for me personally, I just wish the upper was a little bit thinner. So one of the biggest features of the X16.1 is that Tech Fit collar. We can see it raises at the front and the back of the boot. Does it make that much difference? Not really. I actually prefer the A17.1 Prime Knit where it goes across the entire around the ankle, and also it's a little bit more elasticated. So the X16.1 by Adidas is a speed boot. It weighs in at about 213 grams depending on which size you get, but it doesn't challenge the likes of Nike's Mercurial or also Puma's Evo Speed. As with all of Adidas's elite level boots, it comes with the sprint frame sole plate. We can just see that it has that dual stiffener bar in the midfoot, so that's where all this stiffness is for responsiveness, but then it does become a little bit more flexible around that toe box. So design and colourway wise of the Turbocharge X, and what we can see is two types of green which grade in at that mid portion here. We've got solar green at the back and core green at the front. As I said, it's all about that gradient effect on the side panels. Overall, it's not one that I personally like, but I can see a lot of guys out there appreciating it. So which players on the world stage are you going to see wearing these Turbocharge X? Well, let's go to the Real Madrid squad. We've got Gareth Bale and also Karim Benzema wearing these very flash boots, but with those white socks, I think these are going to look super sharp. So why does Luis Suarez actually wear the 16.1 to the Pure Chaos? Well, I think the main reason is external laces. Now what you can do on the Pure Chaos is tie them at the top, but it's not the same. What you're supposed to do is actually tie the laces and tuck them into that Pure Cut cover. But Suarez obviously does like them exposed, just like Messi does on the 16.1. But the one big shame for any players out there is the 16.1 in the X range just isn't as good quality as the Pure Chaos. So if you guys want a speed boot but not the X16.1, you can go for the very popular Mercurial 11, the New Balance Furon 2.0 or the Velocita Pro. Now which one would I personally go for? I think I'll go for the Vapor 11, but then also the X16.1 is another good option. But these are all pretty good speed boots out there, and these are probably your best picks on the market. So we're obviously in the second generation of the X range. We previously had the X15, which was when it was launched. Now we've got the X16. In the X15 range, we had the standard model, a little bit like this, but also the Prime, which you can't get in the X range this time. You've just got the X16.1 or the Pure Chaos. Now looking at the Adidas timeline, it's probably about time that they do actually upgrade to the X17.1, which will be a massive boot for sure, very popular on the world stage. But at the moment, I think these are pretty solid and I can't wait for the next generation. So we've already spoken about how the X16.1 is actually a pretty good option for players with wide feet who want that speed boot. Again, they're going to be very comfortable. So talking about a speed boot, they're usually quite narrow fitting and also can be a little bit uncomfortable, but that is not the case with the X16.1 at all. They're quite wide fitting and also comfort is pretty high.
Okay guys, we're going to show you something else. You can help us make some decisions about these boots. We made a boot wall which has got like what we think are like boots you should definitely get to boots that you probably shouldn't get. So you guys can have a look at it, see what you think.
Where do you guys think that these should come to? It has no laces, really cool, very popular.
Between drop and cop.
Drop and cop, up a bit higher.
Cop and super cop.
Cop and super cop.
Are they better than the ones with laces?
No. Yes. No.
No, they're not, because laces you can customize, right? You can customize. So should we say they go here? Is that about fair, guys?
Yeah.
Nice one, nice one.
Right, so these are part of this review that we've been doing. Matt has just tested these in a video. That's going to be up soon. 16.1.
Cop.
Drop and cop.
Solid. Whereabouts? Drop and cops are in between that little one there. They're quite stiff. Just about there. So they're the leather ones. Are they better or worse than the leather ones? A little bit worse, maybe just there. Should we say about there? All right, so they can just go in that little pocket. So guys, there's our close look at the X16.1. Me, myself personally, I'll go for the Pure Chaos, the 16 Plus. I think that's just a little bit more high quality. But if you want these, then go ahead. Or if you want boots that look similar, but not the 16.1, you can go for the 16.2 or 16.3, which are also available in kid size as well. Also on the JD Sports website. So if you're interested, go and click on the link in the description below. But as I said, that pretty much wraps up our review. So thanks for watching, guys. Cheers.